Okay, so thank you everyone who came out tonight. I really appreciate everyone being here. This is my life's work and my passion, and it really makes me happy to see people who appreciate it as well. So thank you for coming. So what is Netism? Netism is a living philosophy and spiritual practice that is centered on the understanding that absolutely everything is connected. All consciousness is connected. It's connected through a field. We are connected with the people we encounter, with the people we make relationships, and we are deeply connected with the earth. So a lot of people in modern society do not realize this. We all kind of have a habit of living in a bubble. We're on our electronics, we're always thinking about the next thing we got to do, or we're distracted watching videos, and we're not really thinking about our connections. And when we're not thinking about our connections and our connections aren't healthy, then we're not healthy, because everything is a relationship. I mean, think about the cells in your body. They are what they are through their relationship. And we believe that as above, so below. So this connects on every cycle. Animals are in a relationship with the planet. They're in a relationship with the other animals in the ecosystem. And we as people are in relationships with the people that we encounter, with the earth, and with the wider net. So what is the net? And this is what I'm supposed to be holding apparently. So the net is a field, and we are all nodes within the net. Every conscious being is a node. And this group right here is a node as well. So when we come together and a bunch of people connect, this is a living node. And we are all sending out threads. So our thoughts, our actions, our emotions, everything, these are all threads that we send out. A lot of people think that thoughts are insignificant. Thoughts are not insignificant at all. When we're thinking, we are weaving, and they are our tuning mechanisms. So when you're, scrolling on your feed and your anxiety's going up about the state of the world, these are the threads which you're weaving into the net, and you're sending these signals out into the net, and the signals respond and they come back to you. So when you're, say, example, out gardening and you're thinking about nature, you are sending completely different threads out into the net. When you're thinking about the well-being of another person, you are sending positive threads to that person in the net. If you've ever had a person spontaneously pop up into your head, you're receiving that signal from the other person. Signals are sent between two nodes that are compatible. So the people that keep popping into your mind are doing so for a reason. We don't connect with people who don't have a lot of overlap with us. It's like two different nodes that are in very different resonant tones. Like you think about music, somebody might be playing blues and another person might be playing pop, and they're using completely different strands of notes, and there's not a lot of overlap there. Two people who are compatible and overlap, they can have a lot of thoughts popping in and out about each other quite a bit. Let's see. So become aware of what words you use and emotions and attentions you're sending through the net, and you reinforce threads through attention. So back to what Netism likes to, what we're trying to do, contact versus exchange. So we get a lot of contact, and contact is like messages, like one-way messages online, interactions, quick interactions versus exchange. So an exchange is when you're feeding back and forth. So the other person is giving you feedback, and that feedback is supposed to change you. So a node is created between two people when there's positive feedback, and they're growing and reinforcing that over time. So Netism also gives us a shared meaning through the net. And a lot of people don't have shared meaning now. A lot of groups connect over one thing like a fan club or a group at work, and that group at work dissolves as soon as the job dissolves, and you don't follow up with each other. Or, you're connected because you like a certain thing at this point in your life, and then somebody, they start to get into something else and they find a whole different friend group because there's not that shared meaning. Religions offered that shared meaning for people, but a lot of people are leaving that now. And they're kind of wondering, where do I get that meaning? Netism wants to offer that. And we want to offer that place where people can come together from a whole bunch of different backgrounds. I've seen we've got a lot of different ages here, a lot of different, people who look like they've been different places. We love that. We love to get our heads together and think about how many different ways that we can look at things. Because that positive exchange happens when somebody says something different rather than just reflecting back what you're saying. And a lot of people, like in social media, you're stuck in an echo chamber and you're used to hearing people feed back your own opinions and your own ideas back to you. We want to open up healthy exchange where people from two very different opinions can sit and listen to the other person. A lot of people, we don't talk about politics, but politics likes to divide people. And this is kind of spread into a lot of different areas in life. I'm like this and you're not like this, so I'm not gonna, get along with you. No, we are all deeply connected and we are all from the same source. We are all nodes on our journey, and it is through all these different threads that connect that makes a harmony of the whole. So talk about the collective conscious for a minute. Humanity is at a certain resonance right now, where it's all very chaotic. And a lot of that is built on fear. The systems like to divide people. They like to spread fear throughout. And the state of the world definitely lends to that. I can't watch the news almost never because it really disturbs me. And I think a lot of people are feeling that. It's just in the collective. We want to create a space where people can come together and not feel that fear. Connection with nature is huge. We have a lot of ecological projects because the earth is suffering, and that is also causing, the human consciousness to feel disconnected, to feel this fear. So we work on regenerative agriculture projects and we get people together for that. And that gives people a sense of shared meaning too, because we all care for the earth. If it weren't for the earth, we wouldn't be here. And we like to pretend we live in our boxes with our air conditioning, and we maybe see a tree when we're driving by and we feel like we've conquered nature, but we're still very dependent on nature. So we work in a lot of ways of reminding people of that. The other thing that we like to do is help people find their own spiritual truths. We have a philosophy, or our cosmology describes reincarnation. Life is a series of reincarnations, and our spirit carries memories of all our past. Our mind is focused on this life, and we're often not in contact with our spirit because we're so focused on what's going on now. But when we can slow down, and maybe that happens through nature, maybe it happens through meditation. When you can slow down and connect with that spirit, then you can start remembering who you are, and you can start remembering your place in the whole. And you can start remembering how you connect to all these different aspects. People get caught up in their identity. They get caught up in being a certain way, and having that spiritual memory can remind you that you are a whole lot more than your life right now in this role. And you can connect with people from very different backgrounds because you probably lived there at some point. So we want people to connect with what they already know. So we believe in honest inquiry into the spiritual sciences. We want to take spirituality back into a science. So this means that we are definitely open to lots of questions, lots of scientific research. There's lots of scientific research that may be cast out that we like to look back into, like morphic resonance and studies into the science of water. So we like to research on that. Ecology is a big deal to us. Emotional contagion. Research indicates. Okay, so we describe signals as passing through nodes and surrounding threads. So notice how you feel when you step into a room and how that emotions of the room spread to you. When you become a resonant and coherent node, you can spread peace back outward. So our spirituality is centered on coherence, finding coherence within yourself. A lot of the ancient sciences had to do with coherence, and we like to look into that. So Netism is run off of, we have three primary laws. Those are free will, compassion and non-harm, and unity and equality. So free will is fundamental. As each node within the net goes through their journey, this journey within this life is sacred because this is your time for your emotional development, your spiritual development. Before you can ascend to the next cycle, you are here for a reason. And that reason is to figure yourself out, forgive yourself for all the things in your past, embrace yourself, figure out how to connect with other people and live in a way that supports the whole. Support yourself to support the whole network. When you take from the network, you're ultimately, hurting yourself. You can't hurt outward to grow. So that's free will. We can't force people into this path. They're here, they have to discover this on themselves. If you force somebody into the right decision, they're still not gaining that lesson in their spiritual journey. So we always want people to have that choice. Be there for the people who want to listen to it. We don't force our teachings and we don't force anyone on the path. Compassion and non-harm is big because we want to support the living net. When the net grows strong, humanity grows strong. And we can't do that when we're sending harm outward. So when we are harmed, say you're in harm, you have trauma. Your journey is to heal yourself so that you don't carry that trauma outwards. It's a transmutation of energy and passing out love and unity and equality. All nodes are equal. Even the higher and lower cycles are not seen as higher and lower, just different levels of advancement. So we believe in, connecting with the lower cycles, with nature to get that sense of unity, because you've been there too. A long, long time ago in cycles, your mind will never remember, but it's always retained in your spirit. You were at that level of development too. And that's how you were able to grow to this level of development. And eventually you'll be in the higher cycles when you're ready for it. But that doesn't mean that you're lesser or greater than anything else. Unity and equality between all nodes is a fundamental to Netist practice. So the 9 points of Netism, we have 9 core founding values, and this is what our system is based on. So unity is the first value, and that's, what I've already covered is that everyone is equal, respect for all life, respect for everybody's journey. Balance is our second core value. And sometimes people confuse this. Balance means that light and dark and both polarities are always, they're both equally valued. It doesn't mean that you have to hold both polarities within yourself at all times. It means that life goes through a series of ups and downs, and we embrace both of those parts as part of our journey. So we base this is really in line with Taoism, embracing the whole of life for a journey. A life is not only the joys, it's the challenges that carve you. So having that balanced perspective is what we mean by balance in our value. Collective evolution is the third value. And that means that your own growth can be spread outwards. So each individual node that awakens lifts the net. They, just by their energetic awakening, that starts to spread and affect the people around them. You know, you might awaken and then that might make, somebody who you know to start looking into meditation or whatever it is that interests them. It spreads. Minimize harm. That's one of our 3 principles. I already covered that. We don't want to add any pain to the world. Whenever we can avoid it, we choose not to add that pain. I should also say this doesn't demand vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is definitely, something a lot of netists do, but that's not required to be a netist. Education and collaboration. We want anybody who wants to have our resources to have them. So we offer all of our core material online for free. Our website, netism.org, has a lot of teachings that also have audio versions available. So for people who don't have a lot of time to read, I know that's most of us these days, you can create a playlist and listen to it on your drive to work. And our books that we have on there also have that ability. So we also want to create a place eventually. livingnetism.com is kind of in its baby phase right now. But that's going to be a platform where people can go on and share open source research, discuss all these different things. So education and collaboration, that means we bring people together to discuss all these different things. Community. Netism is built on relations, and those relations make us strong. So we want to make places where people can have that community connection, where they're safe, where they're not going to be judged, and they can go in and be open and grow with other people. Spirituality. Spirituality is everything in my sense of the word. And it's because spirituality is lived. It's lived through awareness of the net. So right now, what I'm doing, talking to you, this is spiritual practice because I'm teaching you about these principles and I'm connecting. Philanthropy. We talk about giving just to give because the energy of giving is enough in itself. A lot of people offer their time or their resources or give a gift because eventually that's going to be docked in for exchange. And we say that intention is everything with the net. And when you give with that intention, you're not really giving. So when we put philanthropy on this, we talk about giving just to give because that is the spirit that we're trying to foster within ourselves. We're trying to create the intention of lifting the net instead of just getting something back later. So what netist practice looks like, it's a lot of, our inner practice is where it starts, recognizing yourself, your thoughts, calming your breath, realizing what you're sending out to the net, finding your vibration as a coherent node. That's where it starts. And as you're doing that, it's relational practice, listening with other people, listening to what you're sending and sending clear signals. Don't make people guess what you want. Be honest and open with them and be willing to revise your own opinion. So intellectual practice is about exploring different opinions. It's whatever interests you. Always try to increase your understanding in something, and that widens your perspective. Caring for the earth, that's how we heal, reconnecting with these damaged threads with nature that we all have. And that's just from living in modern society. Reconnecting with nature is an important part of our practice because it heals the spirit and it also lifts the net. So, how to take part? Go to netism.org. The first thing that you want to look for when you get there, look for a book called The Remembering. You should have our literature section. You should be able to see Listen Now. Listen to the Remembering book because that will teach you a lot of the philosophy. It's short. I believe it's only about 16,000 words. So it's a little booklet, and it'll walk you through life after death. It'll walk you through the net. It'll walk you through, um, why bad things happen to good people. What's the meaning of life? It's something that you definitely want to start with. We have the 12 pillars of a tomb on there. That is our principles for how energy moves through the net. And that applies to everything. It's a Hermetic philosophy is an expansion of the 7 Hermetic principles. So it's kind of along that lines, but it's different. It's very expanded. And you want to check out the cycles, which is under I think our first, look here, Netism information under foundations. Thank you. And then stay connected with us online. So you guys are attending this. That's great. And we're going to keep posting things online. We just started a podcast, so we'll be posting weekly with that. And we're going to have a lot of good guests lined up. We've got some really good ones already. So definitely stay tuned with that. Gather in online discussions and continue to stay with us.